I'm here with Nate Holden. I'm Ted Lange. We're here together, meeting and talking. I just wanted to ask you, because Martin Luther King's birthday is coming up, but before we get into that, I wanted to find out what inspired you to go into politics.
If Dr. King were here, he would tell you why he got into the nonviolent movement. And the same thing, reason why he got involved in the nonviolent movement and fighting against the segregation, discrimination, is why I got involved in politics. Overt racial discrimination, and I saw the same thing that he saw. At the same time, over the same year in the same state, when they used to have campaigns, and they would say things like, if you elect me, I'm going to be more oppressive to the black than my opponent. And that's how they ran for office. They didn't talk about the water and the transportation. They didn't talk about the clean air. They didn't talk about providing jobs and better health care or anything like that. Their campaign was about how can I oppress African American more than my opponent. But I said that change will come. I will not ever be submissive to words of my generation. There are a lot of things that motivated me to do what I eventually did, run for office. I was an outsider, even though I've been involved as a grassroots participant. At the end of running against incumbents, they were structured, they were organized, they had a history. And I ran 3 times, and I lost. And the 4th time I ran for the state senate, I won. As an elected official, I supported a lot of good people that I believe are going to be responsive to the needs of our community. And they flipped once they got elected. So I didn't like that. For example, unfortunately there was an insurrection in South Central in 1965. And then one of my liberal friends introduced a bill that says, if you have 2 or 3 or more African Americans standing around together, that indicates they intend to incite to riot. Then another congressman talked about the Truth in Lending bill. Shortly thereafter, when Johnson took some of the money that was earmarked for the inner city to revitalize those inner city communities and used it for the war in Vietnam.
What was your first introduction to Martin Luther King, that first moment that you became aware of him?
After Rosa Parks said she was not sitting in the back of the bus, and I know what that's like. He went to this conclave of ministers and civil rights leaders in Alabama, and they selected him to be the spokesperson and the leader. That's how he got going. Before he died, Dr. Martin Luther King took a strong stand against the war in Vietnam. And he was admonished for doing that, because that's not civil rights. Yeah. He said there's still an injustice that is perpetrated on the people in our country, around the world, and we got to find a solution. He did not support the war in Vietnam. He did not support the funding that was being appropriated to fight the war, and where the funding came from. It was earmarked for the inner cities and those kind of programs. And so he gave a last speech in California at the California Democratic Council, where I was there. Strong speech. After that, he went to Tennessee, I think it was. And that's where he went.
Memphis, yeah.
Memphis. Yeah. And that's where his life was taken. They said that what they go say, kill him, didn't kill him. We don't know. And I guess we'll never know. As the story is written, and as it was told to us, me, that Martin Luther King went to see President Johnson. He says, now, we still don't have this Voting Rights Act. And a lot of people have died for that. And Johnson looked at him and said, there got to be one more. There has to be one more.
Did he say that?
Of course, when he said, I got to the mountaintop, and look over and says, I won't be there, I can't see it, but my children will. You know, there has to be one more. And so, when he died, Johnson railroaded the Voting Rights Act through. And in doing that, they were able to deal with reapportionment and elect some minorities, African Americans, throughout various parts of the United States of America. They went after Jim Crow laws, they reversed them. They're not laws of land anymore. They said you cannot draw boundaries that preclude minorities from being elected. So the court took some broad positions, and that's how they began to get elected. As a California State Senator, I introduced more than 70 bills that became law. One of those bills was called a bill to commemorate the birthday of Dr. Martin Luther King, Senate Bill 637, 1975, first state in the Union.
We were the first state, California was the first state.
And I authored the bill.
Was everyone on board when you first introduced the bill, or did
Oh, no.
you had to convince some people? Yeah, yeah.
Arizona was one of the last holdouts, remember that?
Yes.
And they withdrew allowing them to have the Super Bowl there because they voted against having the Martin Luther King Day. It needed to be done to educate our young people. Let them know that we're all together here and that things that divide us don't help our country, will not save our institution, will not save our government. And I'm committed to that. I mean, I'm an American.